Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Matthew Szablewicz. I'm also known as DJ Szab from the NYC Metal Scene show on Metal Messiah Radio. I am Polish and Lithuanian on my father's side, and I'm also calling from the safety of my New York City, Jersey City condo, which is 2 miles away from the World Trade Center in lower downtown Manhattan. But more importantly, it's 4,665 miles away from the city of Kyiv in Ukraine. And on the phone with us right now is Yulia Lykhotvor, the founder of the metal band Sidis Atrum, but more importantly, a Ukrainian citizen and a resident of Kyiv. Yulia, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking my phone call. I'm just going to ask one question, and then you just take it away. Can you describe what it is like inside the Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion on February 24th, 2022, but has been ongoing since February 20th, 2014?
Hi, Matthew. Hi, everyone, and thank you for calling.
Yes.
So our life changed in 2014. We had, it started changing in 2013 when we had Maidan against our president, Yanukovych, against repressions. And after that, just a few days after that, Russians invaded Crimea and occupied it. And then in April, they started military actions in Donbass, and they tried to stay unrecognized.
Right.
So they occupied our territories, part of our territories, and first year we had rather active military actions there. Later, they repressed people who stayed loyal to Ukraine on the occupied territories. They made propaganda to brainwash people living there that it was Ukraine who started killing them, who started bombing them. It was the hidden war, the hybrid war, because really many people on the occupied territories, they think that it was Ukraine who started bombing them and killing them. Then people who were loyal to Ukraine, they were either deported if they couldn't get away from there before,
right?
Get away to controlled Ukrainian territory, for our free Ukrainian territory. Some people were repressed, kidnapped and tortured in basements. Some were killed. And some people who were unable to leave their home because, for example, they had old parents who were unable to walk, who were unable to leave, not at home.
Right.
Some people had to stay there, and they still live there and hope that one day those territories become free again.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I have to say that first year and two, we all were deeply shocked. We all were involved with that occupation, with the hybrid war. But then it's normal for people to try to live their lives.
Yeah.
And that tragedy, it was much smaller scale than now we have. And many Ukrainians, really themselves, paid little attention to that invasion if they were far from the occupied territories and could live their usual life.
Right.
Similarly, many people around the world now ignore our war, thinking it is far away and will not affect them.
Yeah.
But what happened in 2022? The war came to our houses, to the whole Ukraine, and this may happen to the whole world, to any country.
Yeah.
So We were woken up by blasts, and for more than 3 years, we all live in this world that seemed to us to be unreal. Just constant bombings, blasts, news about occupied cities and towns, about our killed soldiers, and about hundreds of thousands of Russian soldiers invading our country. As we know, they occupied territories near Kyiv during the first days. And by the way, if you have seen my first video clip from the second album, Spiral of Life,
right,
with a crow for the song "Fading Light,"
right,
it was a crow. Actually, it was a raven named Freyd. He lived in one of the occupied towns,
right.
and he was killed by missile on February 25th.
Oh, man.
Many people were killed those days, and after a month being occupied, when our cities were, our towns near Kyiv were free again, we all could see what have happened and what has been happening in occupied territories since 2014 in Donbass and other territories that were occupied by Russians long ago. We could see it with our eyes, and unfortunately, some of people whom I know, they could feel it.
Yeah.
Rapes and murders of civils. The first thing for Russians was to repress, to murder the soldiers who took part in military actions against Russia since 2014 and their families. They tortured and killed their families.
Yeah.
They could kill people just because they didn't like someone's face, or just they were just having fun.
Yeah.
Shooting people like
sport.
Like animals. Yeah.
Fuck.
They were just wild hunters who wanted blood, and blood. And there were many people who suffered from that, many children. And for example, here in Cherkasy, in my native town, my aunt works in a hospital, and they had some of those children in their hospital from Bucha, and they had to make surgery to one girl for 80 hours. She was torn. She was really torn. I mean,
from rape.
From rape, yes. She was torn from multiple rape. And some doctors who worked with such children, they had to have some treatment for themselves, because it was unbelievable what cruelty lives in those people and what atrocities they could do with us. They called us our brothers, but they raped and killed us and behaved like animals.
Yeah.
So after such actions, I don't know really how can we call them neighbors. How can we have a good normal, not good, but normal relationship with them? And how can someone tell us you hate them too much? Why shouldn't we do that after all those cruel things they have done and they proceed doing with us? They bomb us every day and every night with missiles and with drones. They destroy our energy infrastructure. They want us to stay without electricity, without internet, without everything, to beg them to stop the war. For what for?
Yeah.
We know now what happens when they come.
Yeah.
So just imagine they were hunting the families of soldiers who fought with them in starting from 2014, and now we have more than 1 million of men and women who were part of our armed forces, and we have their families, and we have volunteers who helped our military forces and help, and we have journalists. Just imagine what would Russians do with all of that people, with all of us?
Yeah.
With all of us, millions, just millions, will be repressed, will be killed, and deported. So they try to make our life unbearable here. They bomb our hospitals and schools. They want us to have no infrastructure, no chance to live, to survive. And
that would be called genocide.
Our future. They want to take our future from us. We can't make plans for our life. We can't just purchase an apartment or plan a kid. We don't know what happens next days, and it's easier. No, we get used to the thing. We can be killed every moment by a missile or drone, and it's easier to think, okay, I will die. But when you have to think, okay, and my child will die, no, I'd better than won't have children.
Wow, that's heartbreaking. It's
and yes, we can live only today. Perhaps tomorrow will never come. And we know what happens if we give up, and this land, our home, Ukraine, will be occupied. They will make us genocide. And that's their policy and strategy, to replace local people with their families of soldiers or people from not good regions of Russia, to call them all later Russians and say, there are no Ukrainians in Ukraine, they are actually Russians. We are just one nation. Yes, because that's what they have practiced since the USSR times. They made genocide with the Holodomor, and after millions of Ukrainians have died, they brought thousands, hundreds of thousands people from Russia to occupy our territories, to bring up children and to call them Russians, and later to call Putin, come and save us.
Yeah.
Because we want to speak Russian in Ukraine. Just imagine, you come to US and you say, I don't want to study English. It's okay for me to speak German, for example.
Right.
Is it okay? No. But that's what they did. It's cultural genocide. It's physical genocide. Later, to become this land voiceless, just voiceless.
Oh my God.
So we don't have any chance to give up, because this time we will disappear. And they have great propaganda machine, and their informational war is really powerful. They are conquering the brains of people all over the world.
Yeah.
And this is very disgusting, and it's really awful thing that happens.
Yeah.
Just imagine that America is invaded and has been occupied by some brutal people who destroy everything on their way, who just kill and rape civil people.
Yeah.
And just imagine they come to your house and say, "Get out of here, I like this house, I will live here, and you are nothing, and you are no one," and they kill you. And this may just imagine, they want to, they invaded, for example, Florida.
Yeah.
And you fight with them for 3 years to deoccupy Florida and to save your people.
Yeah.
And then they say, "No, we will stay here." And the world says, "Yeah, let them stay in Florida. Give up it. Florida wants to stay with them. Yeah, really. And just live in peace with them and shake your hands, and war is over and everything is good." How will you feel?
I hear you. Exactly. It's incomprehensible. I'm trying not to speak. If I may, it's interesting you picked the state Florida, because it's obvious that Vladimir Putin, he's trying to capture the former Soviet Russian glory. And in that glory was the country of Cuba. And then from the 60s all the way up to 2002, there were Russian military bases on Cuba. And with you just saying how the Russian propaganda machine works and starts brainwashing people, I mean, our own president now here in the United States has just ceased all cyber countermeasures against Russia. He's just opening us up to be taken over. I don't get it. People, are you hearing this? Our president, the president of the United States, Trump, he's sitting there, he's talking about playing cards and wanting to make a deal. There's no deal to be made. If I may remind people of a little bit of history, I'm just going to read this. Neville Chamberlain, if people don't know who Neville Chamberlain is, he was the Prime Minister of England before Winston Churchill. And his Neville Chamberlain's policy of appeasement took place primarily in the 1930s, during which he, as the British Prime Minister, aimed to avoid war with Nazi Germany by making concessions to Adolf Hitler's territorial demands. Most notably, the Munich Agreement in 1938, where Britain allowed Germany to annex the Sutherland region of Czechoslovakia in exchange for a supposed promise of no further aggression. However, this policy is now widely considered a failure, and it did not prevent World War II. So people listening, Putin invaded Crimea and annexed Crimea in 2014. And he said, "Oh, I'm not going to, this is it. I'm going to stop." And then now in 2022, he's trying to, you just heard what Yulia just said, how he's committing genocide. He's taken over all of Ukraine. He wants that back. Next is going to be the Baltics. And I'm Lithuanian. And next is going to be Poland. People, if I was living in Florida, especially, imagine if there were Russian bases being rebuilt in Cuba. I mean, you just heard. Why would Ukrainian citizens submit? I think if we were invaded, I think I'd rather die than surrender and live under oppression. Go ahead, Yulia. I'm sorry. I just wanted to build on what you were saying when you really touched a nerve. Imagine if the United States was invaded and then we had to give up a border state such as Florida or Maine or something, but Florida especially, since it's 90 miles away from Cuba. Oh my God. And it makes me want to cry. It really does. Fuck.
Yeah, these things they are heartbreaking, and we want peace, really.
Yeah.
Ukrainians want to live in peace in their own country, free and independent country. And what do we have to do now? Give up territories and believe. So first thing, give up territories and leave our people in occupation.
Yeah.
Just say them, sorry, we can't save you, so please survive how you can there, or just try to be loyal to Russians. Just a few weeks ago, I think it was Medvedev, who said that they will deport from the occupied territories all unloyal to Russia.
To Siberia,
so
too.
How? Yeah, to Siberia. So how can we just leave those people in occupation?
Right,
And the second thing, how can we be sure that this won't happen in a few years? That if we give up a few regions now, they won't come in a few years to take the whole Ukraine or a few more regions. And we need to have some guarantees that this won't happen anymore. And we'd love to have our territories released, because we really don't want our people to die there. And it's unfair. It's really unfair that they just attacked us. They think they have right for us, and we have agreed for that only because we are weaker. Are we living in 21st century or in Middle Ages?
Yeah. Exactly. Just people listening in the United States, look at your daughter or your sister or any other family member, and they're living in one part of the country and you're living in another part of the country, and they unfortunately are living in a part of an occupied country. Are you just going to say, sorry, look at your children, and are you just going to give them up to to be shipped off to Siberia if they don't? Oh my God, people need to wake up. Fuck, excuse me, I didn't mean to curse, but it's messed up, man. It really is. I just hope. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, just notice about Russian soldiers, who they are. Mostly these are prisoners, or some people from far regions from Russia. They're like wild.
Yeah.
And they have in their culture a thing that when you show your domination over someone, you rape him. And it doesn't matter if it's a woman, a child, or a man. They also rape men.
Yeah.
And it's normal for them. It's a part of their prisoner culture.
Yeah.
And they bring it to the occupied territories to show that they are dominating.
Oh, God.
So, do we have to give up? No, sometimes death is better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, think of that. And I don't want to hear about making deals. And let's just be clear. The war would end tomorrow if Vladimir Putin withdrew his soldiers. If he was like, hey, if the Russian soldiers withdrew tomorrow, the war would be over. So I don't want to hear like, oh, we're looking for peace. There is no peace. There's no peace with a dictator. There's no cards. There's no playing cards. There's no making a deal. Get your effing troops out of our sovereign nation, and then the war will be over, and then that will be that. Leave if he wants to persecute and torture his own citizens, it's horrible, but that's within his borders. I mean, how much land does he need? Russia is such a huge country. You don't make, this is the United States, we don't make deals with dictators or terrorists. And then for us to have a president right now, President Trump, saying, "Oh, we need to make a deal," F you. This is the United States. You think Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. would be making a deal with Russia? They brought Russia to their knees with the help of the Eastern European countries fighting for their independence and their freedom. And now we're going back to the 1950s and 60s. F that, man, because that could be happening to us real soon. Fuck. Sorry, man. I just I'm really glad you called, Yulia, and I know we're going to keep it brief, but I think if people don't understand what you just covered and explained, and how I even explained it even further, like as an American citizen, then there's no hope. There's no hope. There's no making deals with dictators. You stand up to a bully, and you stand up for yourself, and if you what you said, the prison culture, maybe that will ring a bell in someone's. And Yulia, I give you my word, I'm going to try my best to get this. I'm going to put this up on YouTube. I just wish that some people with some notoriety will hear this, and maybe this will go viral for the sake of not just Ukraine, but for humanity, and especially the Ukraine, and especially Eastern Europe and the Baltics, which is Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. Fuck. Oh, man. Yulia, let me bring a smile to your face. All right, look. All right, I'll try to bring a little levity here, but with a message. All right, if I was the president of the United States, here's the phone call I'd make to Vladimir Putin. All right, so they probably have one of those old landlines, with the push buttons on it. So I'd be, it's probably the phone's red, it's like the bat phone or something. So I'd be boop 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 boop, and it'd be ringing, ring ring, and then someone in Russia would answer. I'm like, let me speak to Vladimir Putin, please. And she's like, hold on, comrade. I said, okay. Putin goes, Vladimir, hey, cut the shit. Get your friggin' troops out of Ukraine, and we won't bring your country down to the knees like we did with Ronald Reagan and George H. Bush. If you think we're kidding around, we're not. We're not going to be subjected to your dictatorship. I don't know if you recall something called World War II. And then maybe I'd make a slight concession. I'd say, look, Vlad, we'll let you keep your bank accounts. We'll let your oligarch thugs, they can have all their money, they can have their ships back. Just stay on your side of the border. How much land do you need? We'll even throw in a Dodge SRT Demon, one of the coolest muscle cars out there. Just get the F out of the Ukraine and stop being a dickhead. All right? All right. I'll talk to you later. That would be, and then I'd slam the phone down. So, but basically that's the tenor. That's the type of phone call that should be taking place now. Not making deals, not dealing with people's lives. All right, Yulia. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be really helpful phone call.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh man, but seriously, thank you for making the time to call. I know, what's it about 5:30? What is that? 17:30 right now in Kyiv?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know us in the United States, we do AM PM, but the rest of the world does 2400 hours. So. Oh man! All right, thank you, Yulia, and hopefully you could. I'm going to be playing this. So just so in the interest of full disclosure, this is Monday, March 3rd, 10:25 a.m. New York time, 17:35 Kyiv time. So I'm going to be playing this tomorrow at 2 p.m. EST, which it'll be later in Kiev. Hold on, let me get my little handy dandy chart here. So 2 p.m. Of course, commercial. 2 p.m. in New York. That would be 9 p.m. in Kyiv. Kyiv.
It's not really late.
Yeah. I guess what is that? 2,100 hours. I have an engineering degree, but I'm not that great at doing math in my head. So I'm gonna play that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for this call and for your attempts to bring up the truth for people.
I'm trying.
About what's going on.
I'm trying.
And about how can we save this world and prevent dictatorship all over the world and prevent really bad things that may happen.
I'm trying, Yulia. And not only am I going to play it at 2 p.m., I actually have a live interview tomorrow from a band from Texas. If I could, if my computer here would open up the... come on, computer, let's go. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I just want to give a shout out to the band I'm interviewing tomorrow. Tomorrow about 8 p.m. Right, Cursed Bloodlines. They're from Texas, and the gentleman I'm speaking to, I'll be speaking to, I looked at him, we friended each other on Facebook, and he has a picture of the Ukrainian flag in his avatar and on his Facebook page. So I'm also going to play this interview probably about 7:40 tomorrow as well. So I'm going to play this interview twice tomorrow on the right. So because I'm going on the air at 2 p.m. Well, people that are going to be listening tomorrow, they're, hey, stupid, you're already on the air. But I'm going to be on the air at 2 p.m. because DJ Crusher of the Scrap Metal Show from the Netherlands, he's taken off for a little while because he's really depressed of what's happening in the Ukraine. So American citizens, people in Europe are really scared, man. They this isn't cool. We need to stop this. So I'm going to be on from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. tomorrow. So it's going to be a long show. And at 2 p.m., right after this interview, I'm going to dedicate a song to you. I'm not going to tell you the song right now. And then after that, I'm going to play like 3, 4, 5 songs from your album Torn Sky. So if you want to say something in Ukraine, if people listening, if you want to say something to, because this goes out worldwide, go ahead, and then we'll end the call.
I just want to say that.
Yeah, you could say it in Ukrainian, your native language.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Я хочу всім подякувати за підтримку, всьому світові, всім людям і всім урядам, хто підтримував Україну. І я сподіваюся, що правда та справедливість переможе, і що у цього світу є шанси врятуватися.
Nice. All right. There you go. Thank you. Okay, Yulia. Thank you. And stay in touch. I'm glad to call you a friend. And God bless you and your husband. And Deborah, since she's she's getting ready to leave, but she sends her best wishes as well. And hopefully one day we could all hang out and listen to some metal and have a couple drinks at a bar or something like that. That would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be really great.
All right, Yulia. Thank you. And we Americans are behind you. The majority of Americans are. So you will prevail, and so will freedom and democracy, freedom from oppression. So thank you, Yulia, and bless you and the Ukraine.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. Now this is going out to Yulia, Sibis Atrium, and all of Ukraine and Eastern Europe. I'm DJ Szab, Matthew Szablewicz. This is the NYC Metal Scene Show. You are listening to the best radio station around the world for hard rock and metal, Metal Messiah Radio. What's good? Keep it locked.